Hey, everybody, welcome to Cosmic Chats. Hey. Today we have a fabulous thespian turned salesperson turned comedian, which is basically another way of being a salesperson.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Originally from Germany. Let's give a hello out there. And this is Annegret, correct?
Yeah, I always say Annegret like vinaigrette, then you can never forget it.
Do you like to put yourself on salads?
Actually, I do. You know what? It only is less than 100 calories. It comes with a lot of different flavors. I make life so much more delicious for a lot of people. So yes, I do like to be a salad dressing.
She's going to remind you, and I'm going to remind all of you, thank you for all your support with Cosmic Chats. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you have your own channel that you want us to support you, subscribe, put a note in the comments, and we'll go over to your channel, write a comment that we subscribe to help you out. We want to have everyone have a nice community here. Those of you who haven't, just click the like box if you can, a nice comment. And don't forget the Vedic Meditation Stories book. What's that? Well, those of you who don't know, it is the only reference from individuals that learned the meditation, that Aware Meditation Inc. teaches in large groups to underrepresented peoples, with people with their own voice. That means there's no editing whatsoever. There will be some typos or spelling mistakes, but it's very important to me that their voice is heard. So when you read it, you can really feel them in your heart. It is on Amazon right now. If you have unlimited Kindle, it's free. There should be a link coming up there for you to click on it. And the nonprofit gets a little bit of credit if you open and read as many pages on the first opening. And then you'll get to learn a little bit more about what we're doing, and you can find out about what this practice is. So let's get cracking. How would you describe the taste of a banana? If you've someone who's never had one.
Well, okay, let's see. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you go into a really fancy grocery store, and then you make your way all the way to the cake section. The little cake sections, they have them in nice little boxes, and you pick up a vanilla cake. Okay, so then the next thing you do is you walk home, and as you walk home, you got to make sure that the sprinklers that are on, that you walk through them. So your box will be a little wet, but that's okay. Your cake is safe. So then when you get home, you take the cake out of the box, you throw it out of your window, and you eat the box, because that's how banana tastes like, wet box. I'm not a fan of banana, can you tell?
A wet box. That's not very cost effective, but it does evoke quite a story.
I think it's also good for pooping. I'm not saying I've tried it, but maybe I have.
So when was your experience of tasting a banana and not liking it?
It actually, what happened was, when my mom got pregnant, apparently the second I decided to be part of her, every time she'd eat a banana, she'd throw up. And yep, I did that. I know, I was powerful already in the womb. I was like, bananas, we don't do those around here. So yeah, no bananas.
And after you were born, could she eat bananas no problem?
She can only eat them when they're like really, really green. So like super starchy. That's the only time she can eat bananas. But other than that, even the smell, her and I will get nauseated by the smell.
Was that true for her before she was pregnant with you?
I did that. It was all
you did that. That's what you're leaving the world with.
It's not okay, is it?
Never heard that one. All right. So do you remember having an existential life crisis as a child?
Oh, God, all the time. Yes. I remember. I remember one of my favorite games was armageddon. for lack of a better word, I was imagining that the world's falling apart and I would take all of my toys, run outside in the garden, and then be saved by something. I don't know what I was being saved by, but the thing was you have to get out of the house as fast as possible. But I remember that I kept forgetting my favorite stuffed animal. And
and what was your favorite stuffed animal?
it's like a tiny little cat. Her name was Minka. She was so fluffy. Except one time, and this is me saying poop again, I apologize. One time I did give her a bath when I was little, and I left her in the bathtub, and my mom thought it was poop. My stuffed animal, okay? That's just
that. So it was your stuffed animal's Armageddon.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So you would run out as if it was Armageddon for someone to save you.
Yeah.
And then what would happen?
Then I would be outside in my garden. I would be on a blankie and I would look at all of the people that I was supposed to save. So my stuffed animals. And I'd be like, okay, the crocodile is here. Snake is here. Okay, dinosaur is here. Minka, where are you? And then I would leave her. I forgot her multiple times, and that was not so easy for me.
So you had a savior complex?
I actually think that I wanted to be saved when I was little, and I did not know how to express that. And you know how they say focus on the one thing you can control? And the only thing I was able to control was my stuffed animals. So if nobody was going to save me, I was going to save them.
Do you know why you needed to be saved?
Oh boy, yes. Very abusive childhood. Not a happy place. You know how when people are like, I had the most wonderful childhood. It was just all unicorns, rainbows, and strawberry cake. Like, sorry, I can't. I want to be able to relate to that, but I did not have that, which I think might just be one thing and that most comics have in common. Is that true?
Sadness,
crazy childhoods.
Did you have any other siblings?
Yes, I have one baby brother.
And did they have the same experience with it being a sad childhood?
Yeah, but more. So I was always very focused on making sure that he was safe. So I would make sure that if something crazy happened, that I would get him out of the room, or I would tell him stories so he wouldn't understand what was happening. And it wasn't until years later that we figured out that we actually had switched perspectives, where I didn't remember anything and he remembered everything. And yeah, it was very interesting how I did the protecting as in flash and in person, but then my brain took over and was like, okay, now we're done remembering this. Yeah, it's incredible what the human mind can do when it doesn't feel safe. Or
So did you have a awakening to feel safe without your cuddly toys, or do you still have them?
You know, I do have one stuffed polar bear, but that's a whole different story.
Okay.
Am I allowed to talk about magic mushrooms?
Go ahead.
Okay, there was just one. So you know how it goes. Okay, of course, I cannot assume that everybody goes through this, but when you are awakening to spirituality, you understand that there's multiple things that can help you to get deeper into your psyche, especially when there's things that your psyche just locked and threw the key away from you. Then things such as ayahuasca or magic mushrooms can be helpful. They have to be done with somebody that is this is not a weekend or party drug, in my personal opinion. It's plant medicine. However, one time I went on a magic mushroom journey, and I was already in my 30s. My best friend was there with me. And so I said, oh, I'm not afraid of him at all. And let me see what I can uncover. And next, like an hour forward or so, I see him and he's surrounded by this darkness. And I'm super scared. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm so scared, but I feel paralyzed. And then I look around the room, and this stuffed polar bear animal, she looks at me and she says, hey, did you know that you're invisible in the kitchen? And then we went into the kitchen, and I did not have to deal with the dark energy around my friend anymore. So that's why I still have a stuffed animal. You cannot leave behind the one person who rescued you on a bad trip.
Well, you kept leaving Minka.
Yeah, you know what? She actually ran away in the end.
I thought she got thrown away by your mom because she was poop.
Oh my God. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should call my mom and ask her about it.
So the polar bear was
Yep.
your safe space. And then after you came out of the trip, did your friend still have that dark aura?
So I actually asked him. I was very shy about approaching him, which was so weird because he was my best friend. We would spend hours, days on end with each other. And I asked him, I was like, hey, did you feel something funky? And he's like, well, I noticed, he said to me, he's like, I noticed that I shouldn't be around people right now. And I was like, oh, wow. So I am not super certain if what I may have seen in him was something that's inside of me, where I had to be aware of my own darkness, or if it was legit just him going through some stuff, figuring out how to, mix the shadow and the light together and get some gray goop.
And did it change your relationship with them in waking state afterwards?
No, it did not. He was sad that he didn't have a breakthrough, which in hindsight, I think that is also a message, and that is also sort of a breakthrough. Because if your mind doesn't necessarily want to show you something right away, maybe it's protecting you of something, or maybe it's saying you can take it easier. You don't always have to feel something, see something. It doesn't always have to be like a big deal. Sometimes it's just you sleep really well and you feel good about yourself after. Maybe it's that.
So you have been exploring your truth from your trauma, and was there a time where the work that you have been doing, it changed your perception on certain events where maybe you saw your part of it, that then you were freed from some of those bondage ties?
Yeah, I'm actually getting goosebumps. And this is another plant medicine story. Sorry. This is ayahuasca. So my dad, he had Chorea Huntington. If you ever feel like looking it up, it's a very complicated disease, but I always explain it's basically Alzheimer's mixed with Parkinson's, which means the brain is deteriorating. The person is not necessarily in charge of their bodily functions, but also not of their rage anymore. Rage comes out. That's like one of the main points, at least the way I experienced it. There was a lot of rage, blind
And
rage.
this was when you were a child?
This was when I was a child, yes. So then when I think it was actually 2 years ago, I was on the ayahuasca trip, and I had a really hard time embracing my father. He died about 7 years ago, and I was on the phone with him as he was making his transition, and I said to him, I was like, I forgive you, everything is fine, you can let go, I got you, don't worry. But I noticed that wasn't necessarily true for me. Like I said, you are forgiven, but I didn't really mean it. I was still holding on to a lot of things. And then when I went on the journey with ayahuasca, what happened was I was lying there, and what I felt was trembles in my body. and they grew stronger, and a lot of like over movement with arms, legs, like my entire body. And I was, part of my consciousness was like, oh, what's going on here? Like I was observing this until I realized that that's how it felt like, or must have felt like, to be my dad. Not being in charge of your body anymore, and how furious it makes you not to be in charge, not to be delicate with things anymore. Everything was rough, everything was harsh, everything was red fire energy, like in the bad kind, not the good kind. So feeling that, and then seeing what it must have been like for my father and my mother to see me as a child and to see all the potential I had, it made it easier for me to truly forgive him and have some love for him that I had not felt before. Because before I'd always just thought about the pain he had caused me or my brother, but I had not taken the time to think about the pain he must have been in. So that was definitely very transformative.
Did you find you were able to forgive then, or not completely?
More than I ever have before. And I say that because every now and then I will have an issue where I realize that's a belief that was planted in me from childhood. And I remember very vividly, my dad, he would beat us, and then we would like run away in our beds, and we were like crying and trying to sleep. And like 5 minutes later, he would come in and be all chipper and be like, hey, you guys, I love you. So in my mind, what the connection I had made, unconscious connection I had made, is that love hurts. If love doesn't hurt, it's not love. Love is abuse, love is abandonment, love is betrayal. So I worked on this for a long time. I was in therapy, I was in different, Codependent Anonymous, fantastic group. But every now and then, when I get like into my most animalistic state of being, I forget that. And I go back to my root beliefs, and it says, it has to hurt. If it doesn't hurt, it's not love. So
that old ideology that if the person who punches you when you are at kindergarten likes you.
Yes.
Right. And that ideology of, oh, that means they like me. They're supposed to not be able to express themselves, rather than being brought up in, why don't we learn to express ourselves if we like someone?
Amen. Paula, what do you think needs to change? Like, what do we need to tell our kindergartners then? Instead of, if he punches you, he likes you, what do we have to tell them?
I think that they don't know how to express themselves verbally with compassion. And then, there's the model of what's in their household as well. And then what's come down their DNA line, right? So if that was a household where I had someone who had that happen, there would be a conversation of trying to have a conversation with the child, with the family, of course, and the school of what are you trying to express?
Yeah.
That's not okay.
It's
not. So express it that way.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do.
We certainly do. We certainly do. Because once that's programmed way back, that's in the nervous system. That's the imprint.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you do as a regular practice to help yourself stay centered as much as you can, so you don't get caught off guard with, this is what love is, when the grocery clerk throws my groceries in the bag?
Exactly. When they cut me off on the freeway, oh damn, do I love him. I found, so music is a big part for me. When I can really like lose myself in a song, that's fantastic. I love that. But a new thing I started doing is, I call it meditative painting. It's like, you can call it whatever. It's just me with a finger on my paints on my finger and just smearing on the canvas, listening to a song over and over and over. it really gets some stuff out there, and the repetitiveness, wow, of the song also makes me feel safe because I know what's next, and I know what's next, and I know what's next. So I can relax, I can let go and see what happens.
Yes, it's a form of self-stim that to repeat it over and over and over again is calming. It's also those, I understand, those who have ADHD, it's not uncommon to listen to music over and over again.
Maybe I have ADHD. I actually don't know. I know my brother has it. I don't know. But and I meditate. And I love meditating. It's not always super easy, but
you notice the day if you don't do it that you're off and you can feel it.
Yeah. Then I remember one teacher I once met saying, he's like, you don't have to sit down, you can also walk around. Every time, that was his school of thought. He was like, every time you can empty your mind, you're good. And I like that idea that I can do a quick reset. Of course, I can also do a quick reset with the meditation sitting down.
Right. It's important in the morning. That's where we awaken and we have the day ahead and we have all that chatter from the day before. Right. So take that time. And walking is completely different action than sitting still, but that's very, very important and very good for anytime we go through stress is taking a walk with that. Yeah. Now, what brought you to the States?
I won the green card.
You won the green card?
I do things like that.
Tell me what you did. Why did you won it in the lottery?
Yes, I did. It's funny because when I tell, most Americans don't even know that there is a lottery system in place. And I think it's just so hilarious how everything is a game. And certainly that lottery system, Jesus Christ. I remember, so I went to grad school, I got my theater diploma, and I was like, I want to go to Hollywood. Because everybody's been waiting for me, right? Right. Yeah. Well, I still haven't met the person who's waiting for me, but I'm not giving up. But I do remember it was like $25 to sign up. And then they wanted to know if you're fairly healthy, if you have an okay school education, and something like, how do you feel about capitalism? And I was like, good. Okay. And then I won it. Yeah.
And this was while you were still in Germany?
Yes. So, and then my partner at the moment, I actually deleted the email. You won the green card. I was like, sure I did.
You thought it was a scam, huh?
I was like, oh yeah, of course you guys, of course. But he actually helped me understand that I really did win the green card. And then we had to go through all of this process. And it's a really long, annoying process. You have to go to so many doctors. They ask you so many things about your mental health, your physical health. I felt like a show pony, like having to make sure that everything was okay. But yes, and then I came here, it's been almost 10 years. 9 years.
And how was your English before you came?
It's okay. You know, in Germany, we do learn English in school, but I'll tell you this, like you can know a lot of things on paper, right? Maybe you even ace and test, but then when you go talk to a person, like real life conversations, you forget everything. Oh God, I was like, I majored in English. What's going on? I can't. Potato, grocery. It was just all.
How does that relate when you do stand-up comedy in Los Angeles?
Ooh, well, the first thing I know is because I still have an accent, the first thing I need to do is I need to address where I'm from and why the heck I'm here. If I don't do that, the entire audience will just sit there and try to figure out. That seems, I have heard that every comic with an accent, or even if they look a particular way, they will have to address that. Because if not, nobody's going to listen. Like if you do comedy, you also have to address it, right?
Me? Oh, yes. Yeah, it's
We
the first
can't get,
thing.
yeah, we can't. I mean, if you just go into your bit, people are just not gonna listen.
No, they're trying to figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
So, philanthropically, what do you feel you'd like to leave to make the planet a better place after you've been here?
Oh, I love that question. I love that question. I would love, wait, I think it's, I was going to ask you, is this tied to my purpose? It feels a little bit like it may be tied to my personal superpowers.
Maybe.
Maybe. Hint, hint. What I would really love to leave in the planet to make it a better place is all of the love I have to give. I have so much love, and I don't know, sometimes I don't know where to go with it. It's just so much. And what I absolutely love doing is seeing people, like really seeing them. And that can have a ripple effect. And I know that I'm no big deal, but if I'm nice to one person and they are nice to another person, they're nice to another person, who knows what's going to come out of this?
And how is that going to make a difference when you're not in the world to leave it anymore?
Well, let's say I'm going to make up a whole story about a child that I meet in the kindergarten. No, just but I think that love doesn't go anywhere. It's like it doesn't dissipate. It just doesn't like disappear. It's still there. It's still in the atmosphere. And if I set intentions and if I have hopes for the world, like, for example, let's say I want all the unhoused people to be safe, and I want them to be well fed, and I want them to have a home, and I want them to not be harassed by anybody. So if I have a really strong intention about this and I act according to that, and other people around me may see, oh, she does mutual aid. Hey, how does this work? Can I also do some mutual aid? Possibly. I mean, I wouldn't dare say I'm that inspirational that people are going to start doing stuff now. But maybe even if there's one person, only one person saying, if she can give out 30 sandwiches on a Sunday, then I can give out 30 sandwiches on a Sunday. Sunday.
Is that something that you do? You volunteer?
Yeah, we do. We do that. We started last year, and first I was like tied to groups, and I was like, we can only do mutual aid when there's groups, and the groups need to tell us how to do things. Very German, very, okay, what's the rules here? And I try so hard not to be, but also very Taurus of me. I like rules. But then again, I make up my own rules. So let me just say that. But either way, so then I noticed, hey, nobody's keeping me from going to my house, making 30 ham or cheese sandwiches and giving them out to the people around me. So this is what we do now. Like we try to do this once a month. We just buy a bunch of bread and like spreads, and then we just drive around in Hollywood and give them out. And the first time we did it, we had 30 bags, lunch bags, and it took us 15 minutes. 15 minutes to give.
Wow, like that.
Yeah. But there's so many amazing groups that are doing this in a much larger scale, where they will feed 400 unhoused people, which is great. But I think that everything can make a difference.
Well, how beautiful that you're out there doing that. And I would imagine passing sandwiches with a smile.
Yes.
All right. So those of you who've joined us and you have had such a lovely time hearing about her experience and not only getting a green card, but how she gives back to the world, moving into comedy. I'll pop it down in the comments because there's some beautiful information I did not know about your father's disease. There may be some people in the world out there who are grateful to hear about that. And join us with part 2 with Anne, and we will see you soon. Bye.